Thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedules to be here. I really, really do appreciate it. I'm very lucky. I have a very supportive employer and I work in a great team who are here today. Thanks also to Andy, my husband, who many of you all met for the first time, who knows more about waste than he ever wanted to. And sometimes even manages not to glaze over when I talk about energy from waste, collection frequencies, etc. Or even get annoyed when I invite the BBC to go through our bins and don't tell him. I've been involved in waste for a long time, since I was 18, don't try and do the maths, and started at university where I signed up for sampling visits to landfill sites. I still love landfill. And I had no idea that the offer of free beer and food would lead to a career and lifelong passion. I first became involved with CIWM through a gentleman some of you may remember, Mark Gibson. That was the start of a very long and very interesting partnership developing courses and qualifications in waste management. I have to confess it took me too long to become a member of CIWM, so it's never too late if you're not a member yet. But when I joined, I went for it. I became a centre councillor for the Anglian region and a member of Scientific and Technical Committee. I'm now chair of S&T and I love it. I get access to a range of expertise and work with people who make me look clever. I'm a CIWM trustee and a member of the executive committee, so I see how hard the staff and volunteers work to make CIWM representative of its members and to ensure that our voice is heard and our opinions count. I'm very honoured to be president. More than a little surprised I've ended up here and totally daunted. And I remember laughing several years ago when Barry in this very room suggested to me one day I might be president and I dismissed him. Don't do that very often. I hope I won't let you down and that I can continue the work of the previous presidents in raising the profile of CIWM and the sector and helping the public realise all the hard work that goes on to ensure the service that they take for granted is acknowledged. I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank all the staff at CIWM and CIWM Enterprises for their dedication, their skill and support for me as I've approached becoming president, and also as a member of CIWM in making sure that I'm well informed, trained and feel well represented. I'm also a particular fan of the journal. If you haven't looked at it recently, check it out. The waste and resources sector is an amazing sector to be part of. It's both friendly and supportive and innovative and cutting edge. Seems to be a sector that sucks you in. Once you start working in waste, you're probably going to stay in waste. Unless, of course, you're a minister, in which case you'll probably get transferred to something totally unrelated before you know too much. Or enough, some might say. I'm incredibly proud of my links with CIWM and the sector. I believe that it's impossible to separate the two. If you are a professional waste and resource manager, you should be a member of the professional body to demonstrate it. CIWM and our sector are very inclusive. It would take more time than I have to list all the people and organisations who have supported me in my career and continue to support me. I've been greatly touched by the offers of help and advice. Many people have told me they're just at the end of the phone if I need them, and some have even given me their phone numbers. But this support isn't unique to me. I know it's something my students experience and appreciate. They come back from events enthused and excited, impressed and inspired by the speakers and the people, often surprised by the senior level of people who engage with them, and this is not something colleagues in other areas experience. Waste and Resources in the UK delivers an amazing service. We persuade a large number of people every day to think about their waste, rinse it out and put it out separately for recycling, even though there's no direct benefit to them at all. Can you think of another area that could make similar claims? The level of expectation is also incredibly high. For example, it's expected that anything that can be manufactured can be recycled. I've been asked countless times, why can't I recycle this? But never, why did I buy this thing that can't be recycled? Or why are people allowed to make and sell stuff that we don't have an end-of-life solution for? And together with this amazing and taken for granted service, the sector's constantly innovating, developing and delivering new systems, new technologies and new ways of thinking. One of the interesting aspects of this, I believe, is that the innovation is largely driven by industry and coming from the industry, rather than through government or policy. Although the ways in which we treat and recycle waste are constantly improving, I'm concerned we focus too much on these aspects of the waste hierarchy without sufficient consideration of the options at the top, which will, I believe, be essential to delivering on a circular economy, whatever our UK version of a circular economy may look like. Reuse can have significant social, economic and environmental benefits, and it's because of that CIWM commissioned a State of the Reuse Nation report from Dr. Jane Beasley and Ray Georgeson. That report will be launched today, and Jane will be discussing the main findings in more detail shortly. For me and other members of the project steering group, it was felt very important that this sector was a positive piece of work, celebrating the successes of the reuse sector and drawing on all the great experiences and best practices out there. We wanted a State of the Nation report that not only acknowledged the challenges and issues, but focused on the ways that these have been overcome. A report that didn't just leave the reader thinking, why should you reuse, but thought, why on earth would you not reuse? Throughout the report, there are examples of innovation and partnership working, such as effectively coordinating access to materials and maintaining a good flow of stock of the right type and right quality, maximising opportunity for retail through partnerships, effectively targeting specific material streams, achieving extended social benefits through environmentally driven initiatives. See, drying up, I should have drunk alcohol, not water. Building on commercial waste streams to realise social benefits at the household level, and demonstrating how coordination of a strategic approach can standardise reuse and increase efficiency. The findings of the report support my view that we need to have greater policy focus on reuse, acknowledging it is vital in delivering a circular economy. Still water. Greater focus needs to be linked with better communication and awareness. I have concerns that many people think recycling is the best thing they can do for the environment. So long as it can be recycled, it doesn't matter what I buy. We need to maximise understanding of the value of reuse and make people think about it. We have Recycle Now, which was brilliant, raised awareness about recycling, and we need to do something similar for reuse. Perhaps through campaigns like the Scottish social media campaign, #MakingThingsLast. This is a relatively neglected area of waste policy, and yet one which has so much to offer, both in practical terms and as a vehicle to raise awareness about waste prevention, which is a difficult message to get across in today's consumption-driven society. One of my aims during the next year is to explore how CIWM can act as a focal point for some of the recommendations put forward in this report. The other piece of research that I would like to commend to you today is the research into technology's impact on consumption and looking at how the way we live is changing, which is being carried out by John Twitchen at EMV23 and will be published shortly as my presidential report. I'd like to thank everyone who is taking part and sharing their expertise, contacts and insight. In particular, Sophie Thomas, who's really made progress in this area during her time at ESA and will continue now she's left ESA, Sarah Wakefield from the Cooperative Group and Valpak. The research involved three main stages: desk research to establish trends, data sources and recent commentary on the impact of technology on consumers, consumption and waste, the development of future scenarios and testing via expert roundtables. One of those was based around retailers and one around designers, and a snap survey of shopping habits to gauge interest in adopting resource efficiency measures that were proposed in those scenarios. So what were our key findings? The fastest growing way we shop is online. More and more shoppers who've already started to shop online are increasing the amount of purchases they make online. UK consumers are more likely to shop on a mobile device than other nations around the world. And it's not an age thing. You're just as likely to shop online if you're 55 plus as anyone else. And this switch in competition has been supported by the last mile delivery market, with new entrants shedding the traditional bricks and mortar high street approach, companies such as Amazon and Uber. The potential influence of millennials could be profound. Usage of a convenient, reliable, customer-focused service is more important than ownership of a product. Why own a car when you can easily hail a lift? 16 to 24-year-olds are more likely to consider paying a higher delivery charge for same-day delivery of groceries. Convenience matters most. Food waste is an important issue, and there are some brilliant opportunities for waste reduction through menuisation and servitisation together with the proliferation of apps designed to tackle food waste. The wide adoption of online grocery shopping, combined with Uberization, smart technology, and much smarter use of sales data, has the potential to bring just-in-time meals and ingredients to your kitchen, minimising consumer packaging and food waste in the home, and utilising refillable and returnable packaging. And there is an appetite for this vision amongst retailers, innovators, and most crucially, members of the public. We asked a representative cross-section of the British public whether they'd be interested in trialling returnable and refillable packaging solutions, and over 80% said they were fairly or very interested. We also asked if they'd be interested in having their high-value recyclables collected when their shopping's delivered. And again, over 80% said yes. Mapping future trends is challenging. As one member of the focus groups commented, looking into the future is so difficult. What will happen won't be what we expected. However, there's a real desire for innovation, so we call upon brands, retailers and local government to work together to help change wasteful consumption patterns. This should be part of the discussion about the future role of extended producer responsibility, and perhaps Brexit gives us an opportunity to do this, to develop a framework for the UK that is embraced by the whole value chain. Ultimately, we need to ensure that we have robust, fit-for-purpose policy and legislation, that we have a culture of innovation that is supported and can respond to changes, effective responsibility for resources for the whole value chain, including householders, and a sector which young people want to be part of, with qualifications, skills and career structures to support them. These principles will certainly guide my work during my presidential year, and I look forward to working with our new Chief Executive, Dr. Colin Church, whose experience at a senior level in DEFRA in particular will be invaluable as CIWM and the industry as a whole seek to understand what the future will and should look like for waste as we go through the Brexit process. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank Steve Lee for all his hard work, enthusiasm and humour, questionable though some of the humour. We are very grateful. It would be impossible to quantify the impact Steve has had, but we are very grateful. This industry needs strong and articulate ambassadors, and we hope that you will continue the good work in the future through Resources and Waste UK.